Oh, bro.
When I turned around and see this snook out of the water, head shaking, I was pumped.
South Florida offers excellent snook fishing. We decided to load the Predators on the Malone trailer and go try it out for ourselves.
We pulled up to the launch site and it was a beautiful morning. I was very eager to get on the water. From looking at the map, we had an idea of what this place would look like, but once we got there, we realized that this would be a ton of fun.
Before this trip, we did a little bit of research. We checked the tides, the weather was cooperating. So all the elements were there for a good fishing day, and we're looking forward to get on the water and catch some snook. Granted, this is a new area for us. We never fished here before. Well, at least personally, I've never done this type of fishing, so I was just trying to cover as much area as possible. We're casting under docks, we're pedaling under the docks, which was pretty cool, and just targeting every single area of that flat, trying to get a bite. Unfortunately, nothing was biting. I think we were in the early stages of the tide, so the fish weren't biting at all, but we knew they were there because we saw a few.
Big snook. Seeing these giant snook right by the kayak really gave fuel to the fire, and we were casting left and right, trying to look for that bite. We were all excited with these big snook all around us, so I made long casts, fan casting this area of my flat. And that's when I felt it thump. Next thing I know, I'm getting dragged out to deeper in the intercoastal. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, yes, this is what we came here for, a big snook. This is what we've been seeing. This has to be the right kind of fish. Bro, you're not gonna believe this.
What is this? The snook?
No.
Jack.
It's a stingray.
Are you serious?
And dude, I saw it for a second and I was gonna joke. Here, go backwards. I was gonna joke that it's a stingray, but it's a stingray. Look. And of course, right when I got it to the boat, I realized it was a stingray. That's life. It was still a fun fight. It definitely pulled hard. I even had to go out and chase it because I was only using like a 2500 reel. Once I got it unhooked, we were right back to business.
So Dennis finishes fighting his snook, and I'm I'm a little disappointed, but I'm kind of happy because I wanted to catch the first snook myself.
While I stayed in the skinnier water, Rob made a good decision and went out to the deeper end of the docks.
We figure, you know, this is shallow water, the tide's going out, let's move to a deeper area. So I decided to go to like the end of the docks and cast the pilings to see if any fish was there stacked up waiting for some bait to pass by.
That's a good benefit about kayak fishing. Ultimately, you're in charge of your own success. If you feel like you're going to stick to a plan, you can do so while someone else is doing what they feel is right.
So I finally get hooked up. I'm super excited, super pumped. And when I get to see the fish, I noticed that it was a redfish. So immediately I start freaking out. I try to get the fish around the pilings and everything. Dude, I got a redfish! No! I couldn't do it, and unfortunately, I lost it. I lost the fish. Oh! Heartbreaking, but it just goes to show that everything happens in a split second, and if you don't do everything properly, you're just gonna lose that fish. Even if you make one single mistake, you're just gonna lose that fish. Sometimes there's just nothing you can do.
After meticulously fishing these docks, we decided it was time to move on and not waste any more time. So we decided to fish the channel and some docks close to it. And that's when I made a cast to this dock and I felt the thumb finally. There it is. Finally! First cast.
One. Yes! Got him.
You know what they say, once you get that skunk off your back, it's all easy breezy from there. Definitely a good start for the day, but it's not what we came here for. We're looking for the big one. Once I landed this fish, we knew that we were gonna get dialed in. So we snapped a few photos, we didn't waste much time, and we were on our way. Okay, so let's talk about tackle. So we were using top waters, some jerk baits, swim baits, with a little jig head, and jerk baits. So you're not only limited to these lures, obviously you can use other ones, but these are the basis, the foundations of this type of fishing. Okay, so for this type of fishery, I like to use like a lighter spinning reel and a sensitive rod that's light and has a short butt because in the kayak specifically, it's nice to have that control, and moving the lure is a lot easier with a short butt than in a longer extended butt. And on these reels, we're gonna be fishing braid. Generally like a 20-pound braid on these lighter reels is plenty. And it really gives you distance, casting, and more control over the lure. This rod is a 6.6 medium action. So this rod is a 7.6 fast action. So this is my second preferred rod. It's a little bit heavier, a little bit bigger size reel, and a little sturdier rod. And this actually has the longer butt, so definitely something you can kind of horse a fish around with a little stronger. Yeah. So shortly after, we turned into this lagoon, and this looked amazing. The sun was still low enough to cast a shadow from the mangroves. So we decided to hit that shoreline and decided to really target deep down in those mangroves.
So I gotta be honest with you, I wasn't really confident about this spot because it was kind of like a secluded area and it didn't have any current going through it. So I figure this is just gonna be a waste of time. But Dennis decided to work the shadow line in the mangroves, and it turned out pretty productive for him. He was just hooking up left and right. I finally gave in and went to join him, and
Dude, that was a nice one. That was awesome.
Needless to say, I got humbled by this big snook that just laughed at me, just took the bait, gave me a nice pull, jumped and spit the hook out, and I was just like, I give up.
Wow.
Wow, I was not expecting that. That was 0 to 100 real quick. So when it comes to rigging the kayak for this type of fishing, I like to keep it simple. Keep in mind, there is a lot of overhanging branches and docks, and even bridges, which are the worst enemies for your rod.
Keep it left, keep it left, keep it left. I got you. Turn this out at the same time.
To start it from the back, I have installed gear trucks on my back plate, and on them I have rod holders. In this case, I have the AR2 and the Szakacs, pointing towards the back and at an angle high enough to prevent the rod from falling, but low enough to allow the rods to clear under docks without the need to put them down, and trust me, this saves a lot of time and headaches. In the front, I like to have an Omega rod holder without the extension arm to keep a low profile, and in the front, I like to keep my net ready and handy for deployment.
When I saw there was a bridge after catching all these snook, I knew there had to be something under there. So I cast it in like the deep left pocket of this bridge, and sure enough, I pulled at least 2 snook out of there. Once again, proving that cast placement is the key to success. Snook fishing is awesome, dude. After fishing one side of this bridge, I decided to move on to the other side.
Oh, what is this?
And that's when I actually caught my first cubera. Dude, this is a snapper? Fishing mangroves is always interesting because it's a breeding habitat for a number of different species, so you never know what you're gonna get. After combing through this mangrove area, we decided to hit some spots that we saved for the trip back.
So we decided to go back to the residential area that we were saving for later. We continued to fish all these ducks. We were like hitting each one of them down the line, and we pulled up to this duck that was full with snook. I mean, you could see little ones in the outskirts of it. If you look under, you could see some shadows. I mean, I wasn't quite sure how many were there, but there were a few snook. So thankfully, I made the perfect cast, and I was able to skip that lure all the way to the back of the dock. So as soon as I realized that fish was hooked and was coming out of the dock, I immediately hit reverse, and that prevented the fish from going back into the dock.
So one thing that's really special is seeing someone else catch a fish a few feet away from you. It's just as much of a memory for me as it is for Rob. When I turn around and see this snook out of the water, head shaking, I was pumped.
Oh, monster, monster snook. Oh my God. Wow. Dude, I thought I was gonna hook the little one. I was watching a little one. No, I saw a shadow of a little tiny one. Oh my God. This is insane.
Thankfully, the stars aligned and everything happened pretty much perfectly.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, baby. Wow. Woo! Jesus.
So as you guys could see, I either did everything right or I got really lucky. But when snook fishing, you gotta be mindful of structure, pilings, and basically using your kayak to overcome all these obstacles. At the end, persistence paid off and I was able to land a really, really nice snook.
We came here for snook and we found them. We left with a really good understanding of this fishery and I can't wait to get out there and do it again.